breaking tonight, Prince Andrew is giving up all of his titles, including the Duke of York. It follows a string of scandals surrounding his relationship with paedophile Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with an alleged Chinese spy. But, of course, he will remain a prince, as this remains his birthright.
Stop scrolling, because what you're about to hear rips the velvet curtain straight off the royal stage. Tonight, a royal identity doesn't just wobble, it collapses. Prince Andrew, embroiled for years in scandal and scrutiny, is giving up every remaining title and honor, including the one that once defined him, Duke of York. And with that single move, a second life gets rewritten in real time. Sarah Ferguson, Fergie.
Her other Duchess of York have come to her defence as pressure mounts for her to be stripped of her royal title.
It's a whole big deal. Let's get some more. Here's our entertainment editor, Peter Ford-Pete. This is all to do with Fergie's former friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, of course.
Yeah, and the resurfaced email grovelling and apologising to whom that she sent.
To the tabloids, the Duchess of York to history. Watch as the last thread connecting her to formal royal status snap. In the next few minutes, you'll learn why this happened now, how a single decision can erase a courtesy title overnight, what this means for Beatrice and Eugenie, and the ruthless logic of a palace that has decided to streamline, sanitize, and survive. If you think this is just a headline, wait until you see how deep the consequences go. The announcement lands like a thunderclap, a brief, tightly worded.
7 charities have within 24 hours cut ties with the Duchess of York after that email sent to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein surfaced from 2011 in the Sunday papers. It was the email where Fergie called him her supreme friend and basically grovelled to him for publicly criticising.
Statement signals the end of Prince Andrew's public identity as a titled royal. No long explanations. No press conference. Just a few crisp lines that say everything and erase even more. Because when the Duke of York disappears, the Duchess goes with him. For decades after her 1996 divorce, Sarah Ferguson kept a sliver of royal oxygen, a courtesy style allowing her to be Sarah, Duchess of York. Not Her Royal Highness, that went long ago by formal order, but still a title that opened doors, built a brand, and anchored a public persona that survived storms most people would never weather. Courtesy titles, however, aren't birthrights. They're borrowed light. And borrowed light vanishes the instant the source goes dark. To understand the brutality and precision of what just happened, you have to glance back at the machinery of peerage and protocol. The duchy was Andrew's, personally granted on his wedding day in 1986. When the marriage disintegrated under the weight of tabloid flames, toe-curling photographs, and years of financial drama, the Queen's letters patent quietly reset the playing field. Fergie kept her name plus title construction as a courtesy, not as a legal entitlement. The unspoken contract was simple. As long as there is a Duke of York, there can be, by politeness, by tradition, a Duchess of York in name. Remove the Duke, remove the Duchess. That's not spite. That's system. And yet this wasn't just an administrative tweak. It was a strategic cauterization. A monarchy that has endured civil wars, abdications, and televised implosions knows how to survive. When a limb threatens the body, it is bandaged. If infection spreads, it is removed. Years of reputational bleed, associations with Jeffrey Epstein, the car crash BBC interview, legal settlements that shouted while statements whispered, left the crown with little room to maneuver. The king's message, decoded from palace speak, is stark. You may be family, but you cannot be the face. The fallout travels fast. In hours, charities retreat, partnerships evaporate, inboxes fill with, in light of recent developments, notes. An old email resurfaces, Fergie's groveling apology to a convicted sex offender, a message that once seemed like a footnote now reads like a bill coming due. Friends rally to her defense. Critics say the past always collects. The present doesn't care who meant well. This is more than one woman's demotion. It's the final dimming of an entire royal branch. The title York is not just a name, it's a lineage echoing with medieval kings and civil wars, revived in 1986 with fanfare and confetti. For a while, the House of York felt like the monarchy's fun cousin, less stiff, more human, occasionally chaotic, but always compelling. Over time, compelling turned into complicated, and complicated hardened into contaminated. Andrew is now a prince without a platform. Sarah is a public figure without a royal tag. Their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, retain their styles but long ago slid into private lives, careers, children, quieter priorities, far from the grind of daily duty. Influence isn't taken from them. It's simply no longer required. What happens to Sarah now? Perhaps what she's been doing all along, only with fewer syllables after her name. She has weathered storms that would strand anyone else on the rocks. Tabloid crucifixions, debt tallies splashed in bold font, the unending chorus of Fergie the freeloader, exile and return again. She pivoted: children's books, charity work, talk shows, speaking engagements, crafting a redemption arc that made her, if not respectable, then profoundly relatable. She's made mistakes in public, apologized in public, survived in public. She beat cancer with candor and courage. And through it all, the Duchess label, however ceremonial, acted like armor. Now the armor lies on the floor. All that remains is the person who wore it. Some will cheer. To them, this is overdue accountability, a monarchy finally choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. Others will wince, seeing excess punishment for a woman who, whatever her flaws, stood by a man when nearly everyone else ran for cover. Loyalty, they'll say, is not a crime. But loyalty to whom? To a person? To an institution? To the truth? Those answers aren't tidy, and the palace has no appetite for messy riddles. It wants clarity. It wants the Waleses, William, Catherine, and their children front and center. It wants the brand to gleam and the noise to fade. Streamlined, modern, uncluttered by ghosts. Make no mistake, compassion and calculation can coexist. There was no public flogging, no balcony banishment, no theatrical gestures. Just paperwork. Letters changed, directories updated, websites refreshed. A quiet dethroning. That's the cold genius of bureaucracy, finality without spectacle. If exile used to mean ships, snow, and centuries, today it can mean an email, a style guide, and a press officer's calm voice reading a 75-word statement. Meanwhile, the human story keeps beating. Sarah Ferguson, once the breath of fresh air in a palace of drafts, stands at a new threshold with the same smile that won millions and the same scars that taught her to keep moving. She may write more books, speak on more stages, build new partnerships shaped not by a title but by a tale, the tale of a woman who touched the starched fabric of royalty with ink-stained hands and refused to let shame be the last chapter. Will the world buy it? America often does. Britain sometimes does. Time will tell. Andrew's path is narrower. A return to public life feels unlikely. The room has been redecorated without a chair for him. The lodge, the leases, the finances, every practical matter becomes a negotiation, every appearance a calculation. Even family moments are stage-managed now, not to exclude, but to avoid collateral damage. The monarchy is a lighthouse. It cannot afford cracks in the glass. And the daughters? Beatrice and Eugenie will do what many royal cousins have done before them. Build lives where princess is a line on a birth certificate, not a job description. They will show up for family, skip the front rows of statecraft, and raise their children under a softer glow. They didn't engineer this collapse, but they'll live with its silence. In that silence, some find peace. Strip away the crests and Latin mottos, and this is a story about names, how they lift us, how they trap us, and how they vanish. Duchess of York once sounded like a key to every room. Now it's a museum label. The fairy tale was real enough. Westminster Abbey, carriages, balcony kisses. So were the missteps, the photographs, the interviews, the invoices. Between the two lies the cost of being human in an institution built to be more than human. Oh yes, tonight something breaks. A title disappears, a brand unravels, a chapter closes with the soft click of a door you don't hear until it's locked. But endings are also mirrors. They show us what mattered and what never did. The tiaras were borrowed. The duty was conditional. The consequences were inevitable. What remains are the people, a brother king making hard calls, a man facing a future that won't bend, a woman relearning her name, 2 daughters choosing the quieter road. If you came for the scandal, you got it. If you stayed for the anatomy of power, you've seen it. This is how a modern monarchy survives, not with swords and proclamations, but with spreadsheets and restraint. No fanfare, no farewell, just erasure, and perhaps the possibility that what's rebuilt next is smaller, cleaner, and a little truer. As for Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess may be gone, but the story isn't. And if history has taught us anything about Fergie, it's this: she has a habit of turning last pages into opening lines.